Hello everybody, it's Radio Card Game here. Today I bring you the second and quite long archetype review of this channel, and as you may already have seen from the title, is about the Elementsaber Elemental Lord series. But before jumping into the cards, let me introduce you to the archetype overall. While most of the Elemental Lord, which I will call them Lord from now on, come out in several sets during the Texel era, the whole Elementsaber, I will call them Sabers instead, theme will come out in the next set, Flame of Destruction, which will be released here in the TCG on the 4th of May. The whole archetype has both control and OTK ability, so its build can easily be adapted with the meta in order to battle the other relevant decks of the formats. The Lords are level 8 quite generic attribute-based boss monsters, with very powerful effects, based on legendary spell trap cards, and cannot be normal summon set, but first special from your hand, while you have exactly 5 monsters with their own attribute. And on special summon their effect triggers. They all have 2800 attack and 2200 defense, and make you skip your battle phase of the next turn after they are sent from the field to the grave. Ground Soil, the Earth one, which is banned here in the TCG, is a pseudo monster reborn, since it lets you special summon a monster from your grave. Pyrorex, the Fire one, is a Ring of Destruction. After targeting an opponent monster as a cost, it destroys it and deals damage to both players equal to the monster's original attack. Mulinglasia, the Water one, acts as Linkwin Duo and lets you discard randomly 2 cards from your opponent's hand. Windrose is the Wind one and destroys all spell trap cards your opponent controls, just like Arpis Featherduster. The last one will come out alongside the Sabers, and it's called Force Outrage. Like attribute, destroys all monsters your opponent control, acting as Raigeki. At this point, you'll be wondering where is the Dark one, right? Well, for now it's missing, but I'm quite sure that its effect will be the Change of Art one, that lets you take control of an opponent's monster without drawbacks. But enough with the massive beasts, let's talk about the little Sabers. There are 3 cobbles of warrior monsters divided for level 2, 3 and 4, and all of them have 2 effects. The first one requires discarding a saber as a cost, while the second one lets you modify the attribute until the end of the turn. Keep in mind that both of their effects are once per turn and not hard once per turn. Makani, Wind level 2, lets you add a saber except yourself or a lord from your deck to your hand. This effect is not useful for the archetype, at least in the version I'm playing right now, but it's the only way to search the lords from the deck, so it's quite relevant if you play them. Aina, Earth level 2, lets you target and summon back a saber, except itself, or a lord from your grave, ignoring their summoning condition. Keep in mind that the lord's trigger on a special summon doesn't need to be from their own effects. Maloho, Fire, level 3, sends a saber, again except itself, or a lord from the deck to the grave. Useful to fill up the grave in order to summon easily the lords in a more on-their-centered build. Nalu, Water level 3, targets and hands back a saber. Guess what? Except yourself or a lord from your grave to your hand. The level 4 couple is quite different and more powerful than the other, since it lets you take control of the game state with quick effects. Molehu, the Dark one, targets and set a monster on the field. Lapa Uila, the Light one, can negate the activation of a spell trap card and destroy it. The last Saber monster is the most unique and powerful card of the entire game. Willard, level 6 light monster, as an art once per turn can special summon itself by discarding 2 other generic monsters from your hand, and then apply some effects on both Sabers and Lords you control, depending on the original attributes of the Saber monsters you sent by this effect. Earth Wind, they cannot be destroyed by battle. Fire Water, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. Light Dark, they cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect. And that's it for the monsters. The archetype also has a field spell, the most important card in the deck, and a non-searchable but quite powerful trap card. Temple of the Elemental Lords. boost for 200 attack and defense. All monsters you control for every different attribute in your graveyard. Once per turn, lets you add a saber from your deck at the cost of skipping the battle phase of the next turn. Therefore, once per turn, if you are going to discard as cost to activate the effect of a saber monster, you can set the cost from your deck instead. As you can see, this is the most important card of the entire archetype, and as Dragonic Dragon is not an art once per turn, but as a really relevant drawback, you always have to keep him an eye on, because he can possibly kill you. Also, the only sure free off in the deck, whatever builds you're going to try. The continuous trap card instead, Elemental Training, protect your field spell by targeting or destroying effects of your opponent. Once per turn, by tributing a monster, you can special summon a saber monster from your deck with a different attribute from the monster. With the last and probably least effect, you can send this card to the grave as a cost to discard your entire hand and add from your grave a number of lords up to the number of cards discarded. If it only had said from the deck, maybe it would have been somewhat playable. As I said at the beginning, this archetype has several possible builds you can choose from and try to adapt in every format. You can play it going second or first, more consistent with stuff like Pot of Duality and without Willard, OTK or control based, or even with some combos like the Oswald Mulling Glacier one that I will show you in the combo video. The deck hasn't seen competitive play in the OCG yet and probably won't for now due to faster decks like Pendulum Magicians. It's also debatable that we'll receive fodder support except for the eventual Dark Elemental Lord monster. What the archetype needs, in my opinion, is another spell card and or at least a way to search the trap card. I really like this deck and I will try to build it in real life, so expect some deck profiles in the future. But let's wrap up for this video. What do you guys think of Elementsaber? Do you like the deck or not? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe and stay tuned for the combo tutorial.